Hi, everybody. Good
Hi.
evening.
Hey.
Howdy. So,
Hello.
welcome. I'm sure we'll probably get some stragglers coming in as the meeting goes on. But I just wanted to welcome everyone. Thank you for attending and let everybody know this isn't intended to be a formal committee meeting. This is meant to be a roundtable for the affiliates, the SDC, and the board to be able to learn from each other, identify common challenges, and hopefully identify ideas that we can work on together. There's no wrong answers here today. I'm hoping everybody here sees what we're working on and we can decide what's proving difficult and what things are maybe working and network together. So with that, I am Tanya Johnson. If you didn't already know, I am the liaison to the Stockdog Committee for the board. And we also have Carol Gherkin on here. She is the chair of the Stockdog Committee. Carol, I don't know if you would like to introduce some of the members of the SDC or yourself, or maybe some of the members of the SDC would like to introduce themselves if possible. But if not, I understand some people are a little camera shy.
So thank you for starting this off. And I think, I don't know, can everybody see the pictures I see? Like Susan's on, she's on Stock Dog Committee. So I'll just go through who is on the Stock Dog Committee currently. Region 1 is Susan Severance. She's on. Region 2 is Melinda Gardner. She's on.
Hello.
Region 3 is Kathy Lowe. I don't believe she's on. Region 4, Gabe, just recently, as in like 2 days ago, had to resign for personal reasons. They have a little family thing. So, we are going to be looking at a possibility of getting a replacement for Region 4. So if anybody that's on this, knows anybody in Region 4 that would like to apply, that'd be great. Region 5 is Leanne Smith. I don't think she's on. Region 6 is Regina Burrs, and she is not on. And then Region 7 is Europe, and that's Matteo Campidelli. I'm sure he's not on because it's probably like 2 a.m. over there.
Yeah.
Annika did send me a message. She's one of the judges' chairs. She's not on because, again, 2 a.m. Rachel Vest is on. She's has a judge's position on the committee. Tammy Dexter is on. She has a judge's position on the committee. And the other judge position on the committee is Cheryl Paget. I don't know if she's on or not. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to turn it back over to Tanya if you want to go through or do you want me to do the?
Hey, this is Leanne. I am on with you guys. I just want to let you know.
Oh, howdy,
Hi,
Luann.
Leanne. Awesome.
You can take off with it, or I can take off with it, whatever you want to do, Carol. Do we
Okay.
want to have the affiliates introduce themselves, maybe?
That would be great.
Would some of our affiliates be willing to say hi?
Hi, this is Gina Larson, affiliate for Ask of Montana.
Welcome, Gina.
Hello, I'm Susan Severance, Stock Dog Committee and also affiliate for ACFIO.
Hi, this is Carrie Dempsey, affiliate for Northern Nevada Australian Shepherd Club.
Yeah, you see us.
Hey, this is Tina Blaisdell with Treasure Valley Australian Shepherd Club in Idaho.
Rick Harden, working Aussies of Tennessee.
Okay, finally got mine to unmute. This is Christy Franks. I'm with the Central Texas Working Australian Shepherd Association. I'm on here too.
Hi, Diane and Dan Sanderson with Arizona Working Aussies.
This is Beth Hammer with Gateway Australian Shepherd Club in St. Louis.
Give everybody a second, just in case anybody else needs to unmute. All right, right on. Cool. So, welcome again, everybody. And again, the goals for the meeting is just to be a roundtable for everybody to kind of have a moment to speak up and say what's working, what's not working, or if there's things that they want the SDC to address. Carol, would you like to bring up the things that the SDC is working on and maybe be looking for feedback from the affiliates?
Sure. A couple of quick things. I just want to remind all the affiliates that we did last year pass the junior handler walking with an adult class. It's a non-regular class, but it is available, and we did pass that to have that. So it's a really great way to get juniors involved, and they don't have to own the dog and all the things, like if you're having a working junior handler. That's this is more for letting them start to get their toe in the pool with supervision, so that they can, hopefully they will pursue it further. So if there's any questions about that, as far as having awards, how it's, we run it the same as started. And it has, you just use the started score sheet. It's not the same as using the working junior handler score sheet. It's the other thing I want to remind everybody, and I need to talk to the office about this, but because we just had a trial where we had a novice handler, and the novice handler score sheet used to be the same as the working junior handler score sheet, which, as the judges always called it, the funny score sheet, where you said, how well the competitor got along with the dog and things like that. Now, last year we passed that novice handler, they would use a regular score sheet so they could see where they would fall if they were competing in a regular class. So I just, and when you print the score sheet, if you say print the score sheet for novice handler, it still comes up with the working junior score sheet. So I just want to remind people, if you have novice handlers, that you're going to use a regular score sheet for that. And you would judge it the same as if they were in open, but they can walk anywhere. That's pretty much the only two little tidbits of information I had for that. Also, I would like to just remind everybody, all the affiliates, when you have farm trials and send your sanctioning, please send in a map and a score sheet for your farm trials, because per the rules right now, the farm trials have to be reviewed by the Stockdog committee before sanctioning can be issued for those. And we did just catch up on a bunch of them. So if anybody is waiting for one, reach out to the office or to me, because I think we're caught up on all of those. But it isn't, when you just send in your sanctioning in 60 days, that has to, if you're doing farm trials, that has to go to the stock document, and we do have to review it. And in the past, that had to happen before it got listed on the calendar of events. So if we continue down that path, just know that the sooner you get that information to the office, which then passes it to the stock dog committee, then the sooner we can get it, go through it and get it sanctioned. Let's see. Other than that, the things that we're going to be working on currently, and I'm open to all kinds, like one of the things I appreciate is that affiliates, if there's something that you have a question about, think we need to work on, etc., if you would bring it to the stock dog committee, that would be great, because sometimes you guys have a specific need that doesn't come up to us. And so then it's hard to get something rolling if we don't know about it. Things that we're working on currently is the emergency procedures to address any nationals/final stock challenges. Trying to grow the Stockdog program with a grassroots effort to do some clinics, some play days, the walk with junior classes, or just a bunch of different ideas where you don't need to have a full-on clinic. You don't need to have a dog trial to do it. If you have somebody in the area, you don't even really need to have a dog work stock, just somebody that's doesn't have to be an expert, but familiar with the stock program, and just start to try to build some interest that way. So we're working on some ideas for that. And then personally, I'm working on I'd take any ideas that people have for the judges education seminar that we have to have at nationals, and having that structured. So that's on my to-do list currently. I would welcome any ideas or suggestions that anybody else has. And that's really kind of what I have.
Carol, I have a quick question. This
Yes,
is
sir.
Nancy Anderson. The emergency stock motion that you're working on, there are certain people in this organization that have been pushing to reduce the number of stock that we use at our finals. They've been doing it for years. When I was chairing this committee, I got hit with that every single year. Is this what you're working on? Is it just a gateway to give them a path to getting what they want? Or is this strictly going to be in an emergency? And how are you going to determine what an emergency is? Because
No,
2 years ago, there was a bunch of noise. They couldn't afford it. And we had several people step up and were willing to put up funds to do it. We had a total just informally of over $10,000, never acknowledged and never changed anybody's mind. They still wanted to go to 3 head. So it really, really concerns me that you're developing a pathway. And I understand it's a directive. You don't have a choice. But it concerns me that you're developing a pathway to ease these lower stock numbers.
Dan, this is Tanya. I'm going to jump in. That is not the intent of this at all. It is a board directive for an emergency situation. With the screwworm outbreak this year in Texas, the board decided that it was really important that if we were going to somehow run into a last minute situation where we were going to have to truly reduce numbers, not because of a sourcing issue or something like that necessarily, but like a true emergency is what we need to provide for, is the goal.
I understand that, and I agree with that. It's just I don't want this to become a pathway.
So I will tell you, Dan, that on the Stockdog committee and as the chair, our goal is that it is specifically to address emergencies, not about reduction of stock due to finances. It's about other emergencies. Lack of feed, you can't get stock. We had the situation with nationals in Nebraska where the mink got in and killed the ducks, half of them. Things like that, the screwworm thing. So it's not the Stockdog committee's position right now is not to make this a gateway to a reduction of numbers. It's to identify what's an emergency and how do you handle that.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So do any of our affiliates have questions they would like to bring forward to the SDC offhand, other than Dan? Any challenges you guys run into regularly?
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate? Go ahead. Who's this?
This
Dan
is Dan
again, but
of course. We worked on it when I was serving on the committee. It didn't go anywhere. There has been repeated times there's been some difficulty with understanding the plane versus the box between D and G. My recommendation, and this is strictly for the committee, is nothing. I would hope they would look at this. make them consistent, either make them both a plane or make them both a box. I understand the G would be, that's the second obstacle on G, the third obstacle on D. That would be a rectangle, but it would still operate as a box. So it would make it a lot easier for our judges and our contestants to understand if those were consistent.
Okay, good. I'll put that, I have that on my list.
Thanks, Carol.
So
Melinda had something. Shoot. I'm trying to find your
Sorry,
email.
my puppies are barking. I was going to say something, but I'll mute myself.
No, go ahead, Christy.
I don't. They're wrestling, and I can't. They're 12 weeks old. They're not listening. So they're barking at each other.
did Melinda have something first though?
Yeah, let Melinda go ahead and go, and then maybe they'll.
And then we'll do
done by
Christy.
then. Yeah.
Yep.
So, a lot of my, I guess, constituents in my area have been asking me about this, and it's something I also feel strongly about, which is about the high end trial finals point that the advanced dog loses to the open dog who scores better than it does. And I'd like to give it parity with the other breed rule, where if another breed places above the top scoring advanced Aussie, the advanced Aussie still gets that high end trial finals point. I would like to see the same thing in where the open dog doesn't take that high end trial point. I mean, obviously it's not taking it because it can't use it, just as the other breed can't use it. But instead, it gets all of the trophies or awards or whatever it would receive as that high end trial dog. But that advanced dog would still get the finals point. And that's something I've been working on for a bit. And especially because a lot of people that I trial with have asked me to look into it.
Melinda, do you know if that would require something on the computer?
I'm sorry.
Is there a computer issue, like, when they're at the office for that? Do you know how that
I
would
don't.
work?
I don't know if, and that's a really good point. But I mean, I'm sure they juggle through with the other breed high point. There must be a pretty simple way to be able to factor in open high end trials as well, I would imagine. But that's an excellent point. And I know that keeps us back from doing a lot on the committee because of the computer system.
This is Tanya. I can take that action item and look into that high end trial and then the committee can take that and break it down if they want to. But I can look into if it would require any different programming or anything like that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and I'll keep it on the list of to-do things so it doesn't fall through the cracks.
Thank you, Carol.
This is Christy again, and the puppies have decided the wrestling match is over, so hopefully no barking in the background. Now if I can remember what I was going to ask, it threw me when they started barking. One of the things, we had a couple of different things whenever I was on the Stockdog committee. We had talked about having a committee to help with the junior Stockdog finals. I volunteered for that, and we got like 2 emails, and then it disappeared. Nobody had ever done anything with that, and I was kind of wondering where that stood. Again, and I know that this is been brought up before when I was on the committee, and then I know I've talked with some other members of our club about this kind of thing. Making a possibility of more courses on post-advanced, and maybe even if we did that, just to try to draw more people into doing post-advanced, have an individual post-advanced title if they did maybe multiple courses, not just A or B. I know Sue McNulty drew some awesome workups of several other courses, H and D, I think it's something else for post-advanced. Just trying to draw people into them to keep going, because once they get exactly what they need, they don't come back to them. And so it's a lot to get set up for post advanced, and then you get 2 people to show up for it. And so we're trying to think of ways to really increase participation in post advanced trials. And that was one of them. And there was another thing, but if I remember it, I will break back in. But I just wanted to kind of throw those things out at the committee to think about and look into, because we, like I said, it kind of got tabled at the time. The post advanced stuff at the time that we were told the computer system was not able to handle changing up some of the stuff. It was something to do with the computer system. And so
The
it got
portal.
tabled. Yeah, the portal, I guess. And so it got tabled. And so I just was wondering if somebody might want to look back into that, because I do think it would help bring more people to trials that have already done their A or their B, but they don't want to do, the regular courses in the arena over and over and over either, necessarily, unless they're just trialing for finals, trying to get finals points. So it might help bring some more people in. But if I think of the third thing, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Christy, just to
Yes.
add on to that.
Who might this be?
Sorry?
Will you introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. My name's Sue McNulty. When I was on the Stockdog committee, the drawings were done for the various post-advanced courses, and also the rules was all documented out.
That's correct. That's true.
So,
we did get those done too. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that all? That should be in the archives of the group.
Yeah, because it
assuming?
was actually proposed to the board, so there was an actual proposal done.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
Tanya, this is Gina Larson. Can you add that to your list to check on post advanced titles? If you add a title for multiple courses, I don't think it's the portal that's the problem. I think it's actually progression of titles and adding that, and it requires programming, but I'm not 100% sure. So you might want to check on that one.
Okay, so title for multiple courses, post advanced.
Right.
Is it programming?
Right. And if it is programming, you need to provide the program with like the progression of titles in a business outlet so they can read it without having to figure, so it's easy for them to program it.
Got it.
So, Christy, going back to that junior stock finals, I know that the board or the stock dog committee did discuss that. And the feeling at the time was that we just don't have very many juniors, that it would be like, who would be in it? Like there'd be one kid, maybe.
I got you.
That was
does
kind
make
of
sense.
the challenge.
Yeah. Okay. I just knew, like I said, I had volunteered for it, and then it just disappeared, and I was kind of like, and then I got off of the committee. Same thing. I had some personal stuff going on and I needed to focus on, and I never heard anything else. And I'm like,
It's a sound idea. I like the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for answering, Carol.
You bet.
Anybody else have things they would like to bring up by chance?
I do actually remember my third.
Go ahead.
This is something that has come up at several places, not just where we have trialed, but again, the conduct of trialers, and the way that their dogs are treated, even sometimes other people at the trials. And I know we have the code of conduct, right? We've talked about it. We've started adding it to our premium, some more information about the code of conduct and what is expected. But I don't know any way that we could just really remind people, kind of like we get the reminders on the email system, be nice, be kind. But one of the other things that we had seen is people actually playing intimidation games with people, like talking about, you know, how good their dog was and their dog was so much better than others. And, you know, just like trying to get people stressed and distracted to hopefully they would mess up. And so I know you can't police everyone, but I don't know if that kind of behavior is really addressed in the code of conduct, but we put that in our premium, and it's just something I wanted people to be aware of, that we need to make sure that our code of conduct is being enforced. You know, people dragging their dog out of the arena because they're mad at their dog or screaming, or, you know, so that we need to make sure our code of conduct is enforced at our trials so it doesn't turn into a bad deal.
Sure. Well, and you know, people are encouraged to, you know, you can talk to your judge, you can talk to your course director,
Right.
you know, and for lack of
Yeah.
better, you know, sometimes peer pressure goes a long way. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but at some
No,
point,
it
you know,
can.
you know,
Yeah.
just you can just give somebody the dirty eyeball, you know, and say
Mhm.
that's really inappropriate. You
Right.
know, sometimes we have to police ourselves a little bit too.
Yes.
Remind each other to be good, kind humans.
Thank you.
Tanya, this is Steve. Am I unmuted?
You are unmuted, Steve. Howdy.
Fantastic. I finally figured out how to do it.
Good job.
So what Christy just brought up, I fully agree. And I think judges need to take a more active role. Over the last 2 or 3 years, I've had to pull people aside. I didn't do it in front of everybody, but I've actually pulled them aside and had a discussion with their behavior. And I think sometimes we just, you know, a judge should be looking at that stuff. And it's not comfortable for a judge to pull somebody out like that either. And I did it one-on-one, but I made my point. And while I was there, they didn't do it again, but you never know. So just
Sure.
my 2 cents on the code of conduct. And I really do believe that it's gotten to be problematic. So maybe we need to look at that code of conduct again and make sure we're really have a way to address all of those things. And I agree that peer pressure is very effective if people will just do it.
Fair.
But so can we go back a couple of places?
Sure. Yeah. If you were muted and trying to chat, go ahead.
Yeah. So the judges seminar for nationals,
Sure.
that's going to be the same, you know, in the room, a seminar type setting, right?
I don't know. I am not.
Do you have another idea? I'm open to ideas.
Yeah, we can do Zoom
Okay.
meetings too, potentially. I mean,
Well, I would just like to just run something across the Stockdog committee, and I wasn't really ready to do it, but I want to do it. You know, we've had some discussion offline, and I didn't bring it to the Stockdog committee because I really wanted to try it a few places to see how effective it was. But we wanted to call it judges and contestant education, and have a, you know, set up where somebody with a facility would offer it. And it wouldn't be free, and people would have to put their time into it. But just that judges education to kind of go over some of the rules and how, you know, what to expect when you're being judged. I think it would benefit prospective judges as well as contestants. But where they actually had a chance in a setting to where they could actually judge the dogs and have open discussion and have time to do that. Because our apprenticeship program, I'm just going to say it, I don't think it's really effective. I don't think we've been getting out of it what we want. There's not time. I've been an apprentice, you know, way back when, and I've had people apprenticeship under me. When you're judging, there's not a lot of time for education, and that's just the way it is. And the apprentice is strictly trying to do their best job to match the judges. There's just not, it's not a good educational format. So, you know, we've got a couple of places that want to try it this next year, or maybe this fall early, just to see how it works and get the pros and cons and what works and what doesn't, and some feedback from people who would participate. And then we thought about, you know, presenting it to the committee with somewhat of a structure and what worked and what didn't, to propose it for the committee to look at further for a judge's education program. because I get a lot of feedback that we need better education for our judges, especially the new ones, people that are interested in it. I think it would really benefit them to get their feet wet in that format. So just something to think about.
Back to agreeing, I agree, Steve. And same thing when I was on the Stockdog committee, we talked about that a little bit too, because also it seems like now I'm fairly new to trialing, but I'm saying this from talking to others that we're seeing judges judge more and more differently from each other, if that makes sense. I've had ones tell me if there's the dotted line that's on the drawing, if you waver from that, you're going to lose control points. And then I've had others that, no, it's more about the dog controlling, not the line itself. And then, ones that say, even if you're in started, if you walk through the obstacle, you're going to lose points, but the rules it says you can walk anywhere with them. And then other ones that will tell you, well, no, you can walk anywhere, so you're not going to lose points. So, I think that a judge's education to kind of get everybody more back on an even playing field would be helpful too, because you don't know.
I think it would benefit contestants as much as a judge.
Yes,
and it might
yes.
get people who attended the thought process of becoming a judge one day. Because I think it's very intimidating for people to, think about becoming a judge.
Yes.
And I don't know that we can change a lot with our existing judges. Maybe, maybe not. But we can certainly do a better job of trying to do some better education, preparing people to become judges. That's my thought process. Because I've heard over and over that we need judges' education. And so, somehow we've got to address that, or I think we need to address that. And
yes, sir.
I actually think a judge that presented one of these, that sat down and did one of these, would make them a better judge.
Yes, sir.
So, and for me, I've always been that column on the right-hand side of our score sheets. It says dog's ability to control livestock. It doesn't say straight lines. And so understanding if the dog's causing the problem, or if he's in control and he's controlling livestock, that's what we should be concentrating on. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of, not all of the judges look at it the same way, and maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. But I think that we need to try to do something to improve our program. And I think the best way to do that is to try to encourage contestants as well as prospective judges coming into the program in the future with better judges' education of what we really expect out of our dogs. Just my 2 cents.
I've almost finished my third witch, Steve. I'm coming for you.
Okay, well, you know what? We need new judges. There's a lot of us that are aging out, and I just think that we need to do a better job of incoming judges, the educational portion of it. And I believe our apprenticeship program, unfortunately, does not do that as well as we would like.
Steve, this is Gina. I agree with you 100%. And you and I have talked about this. And I agree that you have to probably aim it more towards people coming into the program. And there's always going to be a difference in judging. And it should only be like 3 or 4 points difference. The problem is when it gets to be 10 to 12 points off
I
each
agree.
section.
I will say this, and I've got to say this, I think so when I talk to people about becoming a judge, I get 2 things. It's expensive to become a judge, that whole effort. And then the first thing I always get, why would I want to jump into that frying pot?
Right.
And so we've got to do a better job. And I've been trying to do this about not talking about all of our judges. We have judges that we appreciate more than other judges. And we pretty much use the judges that we want to use, no matter where that's at. And so, I think that we're a little too critical on our judges. I believe most of them try to do the right thing and pretty much do the right thing. That gets a little, maybe I'm using my inside voice a little bit, but I think our judges do a better job than we give them credit for sometimes. There's always going to be a little discrepancy somewhere. But I truly believe that overall, while our judges do a better job. We're pretty critical on our judges.
Yeah. I've never
I
felt
agree.
that anybody was trying to be unfair at any trial or anything like that. But I've noticed a little differences. I've not noticed any big ones yet. But like I said, I've heard that from other people. And so, but I agree, our judges try hard, and that's the most we can ask. Most of the times they try hard.
Sometimes I think we're a little critical, and I
we
think we can do a better job of educating new folks that want to come into the program. And I think at the same time, it would be very beneficial for contestants to understand it.
absolutely.
Right.
So, Steve, if you've got some, it sounds like you were setting up some of these things and you're going to test them out. So I really look forward to that. And if you could video some of that, I would really, I'm really interested to see how this is going to pan out.
Yeah, and I wanted to try it first at a couple of places, and for clubs that wanted to try it, because I put out a little deal at clubs that wanted to try it, and you don't necessarily have to have just somebody that you need to have a judge. I think a judge does need to do it.
Hey, Steve.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is Tanya.
Yes,
would you be willing to maybe just develop maybe just a little subcommittee of your people you're working with and groups, and then we can just kind of make it like an unofficial kind of.
If you'll be patient, I don't want to make our group too big. I've got a couple
no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it.
even just
And
so if we're timing in,
I've got somebody that's committed to actually do it and advertise it, and got the facility to do it. And we're talking about doing video as well as live. When we judge, we're going to let people judge the dog, and then we're going to talk about it.
I love it.
I'm going to make sure that people know, it's not a competition. When people show up, it's not a competition. We're going to run a dog, and then we're going to talk about the dog, judge it and talk about it. And we'll probably try to do some video also. But what I want to do is I actually want to try it, and I want to get feedback. We're going to ask for feedback from the folks that actually come. And so I think once we do it and we get the feedback, then we'll be in a better position to actually, Carol, to actually push it to the Stockdog committee with what we've learned. Does that make sense?
That sounds great. I think that sounds
it's
great.
not that I don't want to share it. Anybody that wants to talk to me offline certainly can. This kind of came about with some griping on Facebook a little bit, and so with that discussion, there was a lot of discussion, and that's where this kind of. I mean, I've been thinking about it for a while, but that's where it kind of flourished a little bit to actually put something together, and so. But I think if we do one, we've got a couple planned. Let us actually do them and lessons. If nobody comes, if nobody invests in their time, that'll tell us something too.
Fair.
But I think we'll have people invest in their time into it. So I don't want to, belabor. But anybody wants to talk to me, offline, we can sit down and have a discussion. Just call me but I'd like to try it. The whole idea was to try it a couple of times and get some feedback from the people who attended and see whether anybody even does attend. That'd be interesting too. So we'll learn something from that. But whatever we learn, our intention all along was to push it to the Stockdog committee. But I kind of wanted to, things can get slowed down if you get too many people involved. That sounded wrong.
No, you're good. You're good. Totally makes sense. This is Tanya again, Steve. I get it. That's why I was the one that suggested just the small subcommittee. Because it's sometimes
I've got
too big is the problem. I get it.
I've got 2 or 3 people working on it. Anybody else that wants to, talk to me about it and possibly doing it or being involved with some ideas, call me. I'm open. I'm easy to communicate with. It's not about what I want. It's about what's best for ASCA. My idea, it might not be worth a darn, but if we don't try something, we certainly won't know.
Okay, amen.
So,
right on. Does anybody else have something they would like to bring up by chance? Any other groups?
This is Gina. Bringing up being critical of judges. That was a really good point. And I think that is why there's also a problem with finals judges. I've talked to a lot of judges that don't want to do finals because of the intense criticism. So I'm not sure what we can do to make it a little bit more inviting to judge finals, but I think it's something that we should think about.
Well, I think this kind of goes back to what Christy said to Argo about how contestants act. You know,
right.
how we act during the trial, talking about all the judges, and this one ain't worth a darn, and that one ain't worth a darn, and boy, I got screwed there. You know what? We play into that a lot too. Does that make sense? Everybody plays into it on how.
Yep.
You know, I think some conversations need to be, you know, not public. So
right.
So yeah. I would like to echo what Dan said about those boxes, to make those consistent. Whatever it is, make it consistent, because D and G are different, and you know, I think judges have been getting a little mixed up. And I think we've had a little on our farm trials. I've noticed some inconsistencies on the way they've been being judged. For instance, on the outrun on the advanced dog, if the advanced dog can't do it and the handler breaks the handler line to go help the dog, some judges are saying 0, you're out, you just can't go any further, you're already done. I don't judge it that way. I take points off if he has to go help the dog, but he has to complete that obstacle. And some judges are as soon as that handler moves and goes to help the dog, well, they say you didn't complete it. I don't think that was the intent of our farm dog program.
I would ask Steve. So my impression as a competitor is that it's basically like if you're working on your own farm, you have to try and accomplish a task. Whether you accomplish it or not, you still have to get the task done. As long as you don't quit, you should still get points.
Well, you're going to lose some points because you had to go help.
Sure. Yeah.
But
it wouldn't be a total no score.
I don't think it should be. And some judges have judged it that way. I don't know if they're all judging it that way, but it has happened. So maybe we need to try to address that somehow, where it's a little more consistent. And I'm not picking on you. It's you know, I recently judged a couple, and there was a lot of discussion from the handlers on completion of a course, of an obstacle. And I read the rule right to him and said it must be completed. You know, you can lose points on how you complete it. And I had somebody say, well, it didn't say completely. And I said, well, today just consider it completely.
Yeah.
You know,
I
don't know. I just wanted to bring it up because I've heard I've heard several different things on how they're being judged. And so, has anybody else got anything?
Well, that's what I say. Since you brought that
one
up,
at a time.
Somebody else had asked me about farm
Who's this?
stuff.
Who's speaking?
This is Christy. I'm sorry, this is Christy again.
Okay, I go on.
But anyway,
I heard somebody. I think Tina wanted to say something too. So
I'm sorry.
Just make sure we need to.
Yeah.
Yep. I should be looking for hands, but I don't know how to get to my other screen.
I know.
I won't lie.
Weird on this too. But anyway, I had somebody ask me back last summer about a trial because I had been on the Stockdog committee, and I was like, well, that had never come up, so I didn't know where people again, you got to complete it, but people were getting good qualified scores, and they were like picking up ducks and carrying them from obstacle to obstacle and things like that. And they're like, that doesn't seem like that they should still get as good a score, or they didn't know, they were just asking. And I'm like, I don't know enough about the farm trials to tell you. So see, there's even things like that. Some people are not really counting that off. And she said, like, one person just picked up one duck that was lagging behind, but that one other person scooped up like 4 ducks and moved them from one obstacle to the next, and then still got a qualifying score. And she was like, I just didn't feel like that should qualify. Now, if it should, fine. But, I think, again, like what he's talking, there just needs to be some more clarification on judging the farm trials. So
sure. Fair.
Well, it should be about the dog work and not the person.
Amen.
What do you need a dog for if you're going to carry the ducks around?
Was there someone else that wanted to chime in, please?
This
No,
is
maybe
Tina.
not. Tina, yes, go on.
I just wanted to say that when we have our handlers meeting, we talk about all this. We talk about what, if the advanced handler, if they have to go help their dog, they're going to get points taken away, but they still get points. It's just not going to get full points like if somebody else sent their dog and brought the animals and didn't have to help. So we talk about all this at our handlers meeting and make it clear for all the contestants.
Well, I think that it hasn't been consistent from what I understand in some places. Some judges are calling
So
it
maybe
right there.
that's something we can bring up. Yeah.
Do.
Right. I like that idea. Maybe it's something that we need to suggest that people can, address. Maybe it's better to have more of a conversation about your farm trials before you have them.
So, and when there's, this is Steve, and I don't want to hog this meeting, but when we run up against things that maybe a judge didn't judge correctly or there were questions on it, if the clubs would just, let the Stockdog committee know, or, make some type of a notation to where it can be addressed and to the judges during the, at the judges, there's a judges, they've got a list too, where, this happened and this was not, that was not the proper way to judge it, or, just like on course, G, it was judged as a, on one of them was judged as a box. And, when there's something that comes up, we just need to address it and let the judges know better than what we've been doing. Does that make sense? Instead of, it's not about crucifying anybody, but it's about clarifying it and putting it out to the judges list. Does that make sense?
So this is Carrie Dempsey. And when you're talking about the completion of tasks, so I've had several judges, and these are popular current judges, tell me that on my directions sheet for the map, that at the top it says all tasks must be attempted. And so that has made it so that there aren't as many questions about, well, if I have to cross that line, and if I have to do this. And that's helped a lot. And the other inconsistency that I've seen through probably 4 different judges that we've had in the past year is that at the end of the farm trial, when time expires and the dog and the stock are pretty much to the repen gate, but they haven't actually opened it or closed it. And some judges are giving them a 0 because they're not completing that. And other judges are giving them the points up to that point. So they've given them points off for not actually repenning them because they did attempt the task. How do you feel about that, Steve?
Well, if you read the rule says every task must be completed. If you get a 0, you cannot qualify. That's in the rule book. Right?
Correct.
Everybody can agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't complete the repin. So it's a 0. I mean, basically, because you can still get your points. I mean, there might be some points involved getting there, but because you didn't complete it, you can't get a qualifying score. I mean, that's the rule. And if we go to bending rules, we shouldn't even have them. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me, but it has been an inconsistency that I have seen. And so
you said something that on your score sheet it said that it must be
all tasks must be attempted.
Well, is that the intention of the rules?
I don't know. I'm just tell you what several judges have told me.
Sure. This is Tanya. I'm going to interrupt. Maybe this is something, Carol, would you be willing to take this to the SDC to maybe get some clarification on?
Yes, I would.
Perfect.
So Carol, I've got a question. You guys are approving the score sheet too, right?
Yes.
So are you approving score sheets that says they must be attempted or they must be completed?
So most of the time, honestly, on the score sheets, whether it says attempted or completed, it's how the judge judges it. I mean, because we're approving what it says, but that doesn't mean that's what they're doing when they actually judge it. Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Well, I think we need to do, Carol, look, you guys need to look into it and make that consistent.
Yep. I think that's,
we'll put that on my list.
So I'm not trying to be rude, but we've got about 10 minutes left. And I want to make sure that anybody that needs anything they would like to address gets the opportunity to do so.
This is Beth Hammer with Gateway Aussie Club. And before we move off this topic of is the task completed, I think the questions that we've had in our area pertain to number of stock. So let's say, you're working with 10 head and they need to be panned in a freestanding pen. The question that comes up is, if I get 9 of them in and close the gate, do I get points for that? Or is that not completing the task?
My guess is that's going to be left to the judge's discretion, but Steve is a judge, so maybe he can chime in. Or if another judge would like to chime in.
Yeah, that would be great. My 2 cents is it needs to be completed, and 9 is not completing it.
Okay.
You got some other judges there, right?
Cheryl would say sometimes some things just don't work. So I'm going to give you points for the 9.
Okay.
Well, maybe we
I think
need
the comments. The comments I've heard have been, it's not AKC where, it's all or none. So just looking for
I still think our rules say that it must be completed, and if it has to be completed, that means everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't want to complete it, if the intention is not to give scores out where you didn't complete it, change the rule.
Yeah.
As a judge, I think it's most important for me to judge by the rule. And
agreed.
So.
Yeah, this is Tanya.
Okay.
The way it was explained to me when I first started doing farm trials, honestly, was that if you had to take 10 head to the sale, you wouldn't only take 9.
Yeah, we're just walking out.
Right.
So,
okay.
But that's,
thank you.
Yeah. Anyways, that's how it was explained to me as a competitor. Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tanya, this is Sue. I've got a quick question for the group.
Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, maybe it was not as much a question as a request. When a question comes in to, say, to the Stockdog committee, I would ask, or maybe it's a question that comes into the trial, all these various things. I think it'd be a great format to provide a response back to the exchange and to the judges, because that would then provide that information going out to a lot of people and get a little bit more uniformity. So that's just a suggestion I think might help. So thank you.
I agree 100%, Sue. We should be doing that.
That's a good, solid suggestion. And that's what we can also use for, like the newsletter. We have the Aussie News and stuff like that. We can use that as an outlet for those items, potentially.
And as chair, I'm going to say that my goal going forward is that I would like to put out every month on the Aussie News that like what the Stockdog committee is working on or if we've come to conclusions on things or whatever, so that does go out to the entire membership, which does include the judges. So, but anyway, that is definitely a personal goal of mine as the chair to try to get the information out to everybody on a regular basis, and try to do that.
Yeah. The exchange, I think, would be an excellent one to hit that. You could do it with more detail than the Aussie News, but the more communication, the better. Is
Yeah.
better
The nice thing
benefit.
about the Aussie News over the exchange is that it's more of a global platform for all of ASCA. So we can, have more information going out to the whole membership rather than just the limited membership that may be on the exchange.
It's in the
Do both?
You can hit them both. Yeah, absolutely. We can hit them both. Not a problem.
This is
100%.
Dan. This is Dan. In the committee procedures rule book, it says that there's supposed to be a note from all chairs from all committees each month in the newsletter describing what they're talking about, what they're doing. So that's already in place. It's just not being utilized at this point. The exchange is supposed to be meant for people to exchange ideas, thus the name exchange. And I would love it. In my opinion, I don't think any motion should ever be voted on by any committee until it's been put on the respective list to get comments from the contestants and people out there before the committee votes on it. So there's an opportunity to make corrections if they come up before it even goes to the board.
I think our membership should be involved with everything we're doing. And, if we push something to the membership without some input, I think that we might be, it could result in failure.
Sure.
So it has happened recently.
More opportunities to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah. And you know what? I think the best suggestion, our membership, ASCA is a membership organization, and we need to include our membership as much as possible. You never know when somebody's going to have a good idea. And the other thing is, if something comes to the committee where a judge made a mistake or whatever, someone's being judged differently, try not to establish blame. Just try to go back and just go back to the rules, and this is what the intent was.
It's never wrong to ask questions. You can always ask questions. And as I understand, people can always reach out to the SDC. They can always reach out to Carol. You can always reach out to me. You can always reach out to Calla. We are available, email, phone number, any way you want to get a hold of us. I've found that all of us are very responsive. How did everybody feel about this? How we're running out of time here. It's been almost an hour.
I think it's been productive myself. My 2 cents.
I agree. I have one question for you though, Tanya. This is Gina.
Ma'am.
On procedural question, are you going to have these meetings more often?
Well, that was a question I would like to ask for you guys. So one of the questions I am bringing forward are, how often would you like to do this? And do we want to establish topics for future, or just, we can do it once a year, twice a year, quarterly? I mean, it kind of depends on what the SDC availability is going to want to be and whatnot, but we can do these. It's just this was meant to be the first one, see how people liked it, see what they thought, get feedback, and then potentially build on it to make it better in the future. So I would love to hear what people think.
This is Gina. I think it's great. I would like to see just, quarterly. One thing, I think there's probably a lot of people on here that haven't used Zoom meetings. So I don't know if they know that you need to mute yourself when you're done talking. And also, do you want us to raise our hand or just, but just start talking? Those are the procedural questions I was talking about.
I need to be better at that. Again, this is the first time I'm hosting a Zoom meeting myself, so I'm learning. There's a learning curve for me. But beyond that, yes, we need to, I will get better at this, I promise.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't saying that, but do you want us to raise our hand? And also, do people know that there's a sidebar or chat that you can do? And
I don't know, that's, yeah.
So we might want to do a procedural, this is how Zoom works.
Yeah, Potentially. Not a bad idea. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would be
like on
that would be
the
that,
beginning of the meeting, maybe. Everybody scroll left.
Well, you could share your screen.
Oh, I could try. I don't know how to do that though.
Oh, okay.
And it's my
So
first,
with
I'm
that, I'm
hosting my first
done.
Zoom meeting myself. So I've
So
attended plenty, but this is the first time I'm hosting one. So
before we all get off, I do just want to say, as the stock dog chair, okay, I am not on Facebook. So please email, text, phone call, do not Facebook me because it will be crickets for lifetime. So I know people use it a lot. I don't. And I don't want people to think I'm ignoring them or won't answer them or whatever, but I do not Facebook. So just to know ahead of time, you can spread the word. Most everybody that knows me pretty much knows that, but I just want to put it out there for everybody. If like text me, call me, email me, but don't do Facebook because you won't get a response. I can guarantee.
well,
Jody,
before we end, I'd like to thank Carol for stepping up and being the chair of the committee. It's a big job. You got a lot of cats to herd.
Here, here.
And but thanks, Carol, for stepping up and doing that. And I look forward to working with you as a board member and as a member, period. I'm never short of ideas, and I just like to see other people, what their ideas are. So, and
I
I
was
think
super
quarterly
excited to
on the
see that there
meetings,
were, sorry.
I think
Sorry, go ahead.
quarterly would be a really good benchmark to hit
cool.
on these meetings.
All right, we'll aim for quarterly, and Carol and I and the SDC can deep dive it more. Any other follow-up thoughts, Carol?
I don't have anything else at this time. I will tell everyone also, I welcome ideas. I like to hear lots of ideas. So don't ever feel that you can't put something out to me because I welcome ideas, yeah, regardless of the topic, or what, what you may or may not think about it. But I like to get everybody's side of the story so that we can, craft the things appropriately. Because just like what Steve said, you never know when somebody's going to have the brilliant idea. And so I do welcome that. But thank you, everybody, for being on.
This is
Thanks
Denise.
for giving us an opportunity.
Yeah, thank you guys for attending. I appreciate it.
This is Christine. That's what I was going to say. I was amazed to see 40 people were on. Initially, I think there's like 38 or so left now, but really was thrilled to see that many people join.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening, and we'll let you know when the next one is.
Thank you,
Thanks, Tanya.
Thanks, Tanya. Thanks, Carol.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.